Speaking of getting dubs, Memphis did not get one on Sunday.
Great transition. Hell of a transition.
Sorry for the downer.
Real professional.
Yeah, try. I don't know, man. I was very, I don't want to say very, but I was pretty confident Memphis was going to win this game.
Regardless of the outcome, I mean, shout out Jamal Shed for hitting that shot. May have pushed off, but
Stones,
whatever.
Stones.
I mean, you for refs, calling that in that moment, that's tough to blow that whistle.
Yeah.
I think overwhelmingly, I feel great and positive about everything about Sunday. The crowd out there, 18,000 deep. We got the stripe thing done. We had white. We had blue. You had guys step up. Malcolm Dandridge stepped up. Chandler Lawson stepped up. You were down by 9 to the number 1 team in the country at home.
At half.
And came back and tied that ball game up, gave yourself a chance to win.
Yeah.
And I think that in itself should be looked at incredibly positively.
Yeah.
And I mean, just to have a chance to win that game, I give hats off.
But of course, it has to come in heartbreaking fashion.
Yeah, of course. Two. I mean, the one against Seton Hall and this one, just brutal, man.
Would y'all have rather Houston win by 8, 9, 10,
Yes.
11 over a buzzer beater?
Kind of. Get your heart ripped out.
Right. So for fans, as far as heartbreak, absolutely, you'd rather lose big than lose on a buzzer beater. But as far as national respect and committee, 100%, you'd rather lose on a buzzer beater because you had every opportunity to win this game. I mean, when Kendrick Davis makes that layup, it's we're going to overtime and Memphis is going to win this game. They have every bit of momentum
and Elijah
right now.
McCadden played good defense against Jamal Shed on that final possession.
Yeah.
He couldn't do anything about it. That was just
why
having
he didn't,
cojones.
You know why he didn't get that foul call? I mean, obviously the end of the game, they're not going to – the push-off, they're not going to really call much. But the way, if you look at it on the TV –
it was slick.
It was a slick move, but it almost – the way that Eli kind of went backwards, it made it look like he was – reacting to try to come back,
like he was sagging off,
he got just skated, he just got skated on that play.
It's kind of like Michael Jordan on that crazy shot, using the guy's momentum against himself and getting a little bit of a push.
If Elijah had fallen, they might have called it.
Yeah,
but he didn't fall.
But he was playing tough defense, and Jamal Shed used his momentum against him in that moment, and I thought it could have been called, but
yeah, you can't make that call in that moment. But I mean, regardless, when you look at it, when you look at it overall, Memphis very easily could have won this game, and their second best player did not play well.
You're right.
DeAndre Williams was in foul trouble the entire game. He still played 30 minutes, but it felt like he couldn't get that momentum that he usually gets. He couldn't get into any kind of rhythm. 8 points, 6 assists, 3 steals. He had some sequences where he played really well, but he had to play timid with those. Did he pick up his third in the second half, or was it at the end of the first half?
I think
I don't know because
at the end of the first half,
I want to say he had 3 at half.
I don't think he did. I think he only had 2 because Penny had taken him out,
but he put him back in.
And he put him back in, and then took him out before I think he was on the bench at the end of the first half. I think he got that foul. He kind of got lucky with that. But I think he got his 2 fouls in the first half, 2 fouls in the second half. I think.
Could have been.
Yeah.
That might be right.
Yeah, it could be. But it was constant in and out, which is not the norm for him, obviously.
And offensively, he was just out of rhythm. He was out of whack.
And he only took 7 shots.
Yeah.
And he only made 2.
Yeah. Most of his damage was at the free throw line. Half of his points were at the free throw line.
Half his points were at the free throw line. I don't think he had any points in the paint, right? Because he hit that. I think he hit an elbow jumper, and I think he hit one maybe right at the top of the free throw line, it was a fadeaway early. Yeah. So I don't think he really scored any points in the paint. Memphis missed a fair amount of layups, which was damaging.
Yes.
You had some missed bunnies. Specifically, there was a possession where I think Kendrick missed 2 layups. Malcolm missed a couple layups, but overall, that's just being nitpicky. This team played their butts off in the biggest game of the year on the biggest stage, and it's Houston's defense is nuts. I know everybody wanted Memphis to win this game in the city, but man, that team is good. And it's more to me, it's more the coaching than the players. Kelvin Sampson is absurdly good.
It's funny because, like, I think Marcus Sasser's a great player. Like, I think Jarris Walker's a great player. But every single year, including last year when Marcus Sasser was out with a torn ACL, Kelvin Sampson gets the most out of all his role players year in, year out. Jamal Shedd, Tremont Mark, Juwan Roberts. Going back, you had Quentin Grimes was the main guy.
Yeah.
Dejan Giroux ran everything. Like his role players are the parts of his team that put them over the edge.
Yep.
Like, because you don't get those just massive nights at the office from Marcus Sasser every single game, or from Jarris Walker.
He doesn't have to.
Marcus Sasser the other day was, I thought, relatively average, 13 points, didn't shoot a high percentage from the field, turned the ball over a few times, but Jamal Shedd was great. Tremont Mark was great. And they made up the difference when those guys, when the two main guys, Jarris Walker and Marcus Sasser, didn't show up in a massive way.
Yeah. So Kenny, you want to roll? We got a clip of Kendrick Davis. He had some pretty interesting thoughts on Houston after the game. You want to roll that clip real quick?
Yeah, let me roll it for you. Just this is post game. Afterwards, obviously, very upset.
I just took it as any other game. Like I said. I watched it, heard it just because I'm from Houston, not because of who we was playing. You know, I had my family down there, and I just wanted to play just because I feel like they beatable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't look at them like that. Like, they don't, they don't fear me. I don't think they guards are great. Like, I live for these moments, and man, hats off to Jamal Shedd, made two big time plays. I think, me personally, I think that's their engine. That's their best player to me. So he made big time shots, and hats off to them.
Kendrick, I know you guys have a few games to win before you get there, but how bad do you want these guys next Sunday?
Bad. It's on my mind.
Bad. Yeah, straight up
That's
bad. I don't blame him for feeling that way.
Not at all.
About their team. Like, just as far as the appeal of that roster, no one is overly terrifying.
No.
I guess Jarris Walker and Marcus Sasser can be those guys, but they weren't in that game.
Schematically, they're just perfect, though.
Did that not come across, though, as kind of shots towards Sasser? A little bit?
It definitely was.
100%.
It definitely was.
And I hear a lot of people, like, and Kelvin Sampson said the same thing about him being the AAC Player of the Year over Kendrick. No.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely not.
If you heard what we had to say last week, we clearly think
right.
that Kendrick Davis should
I
be
think
the player
everyone should think Kendrick Davis should be Player of the Year.
I do too, man. What he's done this year, Okay, so we were talking about
last year. I mean, there should. I know you're not going to base it off last year, but the carryover and the consistency. Come on, man.
Okay, so we were talking about this before we started recording. Memphis is sitting at 23-8 and 13-5 in the conference. Buzzer beater loss to Seton Hall. Buzzer beater loss to Houston. Double overtime against UCF, overtime against Tulane.
Yep.
That's 4 games that if a couple shots would have bounced differently, they win. They're 27-4, and that's 3 conference losses. So they'd only have 2. They'd have 2 conference losses on the year.
And think about
16-2 in conference.
I mean, even if you just switch 2 of those and get it to 25-6, good God. I mean, that's top 25 team weeks ago.
Yeah.
And in the 2 that I'm talking about, Seton Hall should have been a win.
Yes.
Bank in by a guy who doesn't shoot 3 balls.
Right.
Just got lucky as hell. And then the UCF game where they gacked it up down the stretch and they had a lead the entire time.
Yeah.
Like this team, it's funny because I think that game at Temple they got lucky, but most of the time in those in-game situations,
they
are not a lucky team.
No.
They get the bad end of the stick when it comes to sort of late shots that could put the other team over the top.
Yeah. So, I mean, my sentiment on this. Kendrick Davis, man, he's been awesome. And obviously we watched him some while he was at SMU, but to watch him on a night in and night out basis and see just the absolute consistency that this dude has, like, you can count on one hand how many off games he's had this year, if he's even had
And
multiple
even
off
his
games.
off games, I look up and he has 23 and 7 assists.
Yeah, I mean,
like his off games are like, okay, he had 5 turnovers that game and he looked out of sync for parts of it, but he still had 19 points.
yeah, I mean,
Still filled it up.
21.5 points, 11th in the country, 3.7 rebounds per game, 5.6 assists per game, 20th in the country, and 2.2 steals a game.
Hell, I don't know how you felt about this, or Kenny. I want to hear your thoughts. There were parts during that SMU game at SMU that they won by 19 where I was like, Kendrick looks out of it.
Yeah.
He doesn't look right. But he had 23 points and 10 assists.
Right. He was
pressing
You just
too
look
hard.
up and you go, damn.
Yeah,
Fills up the stat sheet like no one
Regardless.
Penny's ever had.
Definitely.
Like very few have in Tiger history.
Yeah.
By the way, I found out. Have y'all wondered kind of what? Not to go back to the SMU game because that's over and done with, but the narrative coming out was what Penny said after about the student section and all that kind of stuff. I know there were some rumors about things that were being said, but I found out what really pissed them off.
What happened?
There was a row of guys in the student section that were wearing T-shirts that said Kendrick Jr. is a
Oh, his kid.
His son?
Okay, that's over the line.
yeah, that's way too far.
That's
over
what
the
I said.
line.
That is way too
Is
far.
a
Yeah.
Are we being serious?
What's he, like 2 years old?
Not
You
even.
know how weird you have to be
To
You know
be
how-
like, oh yeah,
you know
we're
how
gonna go.
damn weird you have
We're
to
gonna
be.
we're gonna go to that level.
Yeah, like but here's what I'll say on the face value, the trader stuff and the FKD stuff.
That's whatever.
That
Right.
comes with the territory.
Yeah, that's part. You know
But
that's coming
Kendrick Jr.
Yeah, that's-
you gotta be a weird person
to go
to
that
even
far.
think of
to
to
put
even
the
think of that.
time and energy to get a T-shirt made.
Yeah,
Like what a weirdo.
yeah, that is.
You
quite
said it was a
strange.
whole row of dudes.
A whole row.
Well, and I also find that funny considering there was how many people in there?
52.
There was
Like maybe
the announced attendance
70.
was the announced attendance was 67 people.
Right? Like, good lord, man! Don't you have better things to do than go watch that basketball team?
Nope.
Yeah, you have to go call Kendrick Jr. a
Yep.
What the hell? God, there's weird people
There
among
are
us guys.
There are very strange.
This is why I'm weary of folks. This is why I'm weary of people.
Yes.
You think?
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm
Mind my own
I'm looking at
business
the
most
announced
of the time.
attendance. 4,332.
Bullshit.
And the capacity is
It's bullshit, man.
the
no chance.
the capacity is 7,000. So that's saying
There's
it was
no
over
way
halfway
they had
sold out.
4,000 at SMU.
no shot.
Like 0%.
1,500
I
maybe.
do think Penny going back to that. Penny saying that's what SMU's all about. I think that's a little unfair. Like
I love when Penny does that.
Come
though.
on.
Come on, man. That's I love it.
You can't. I mean, a row of guys wearing stupid T-shirts
I
does
lo-
not
I love-
define exactly who SMU is as an institution.
I love when Penny drops bombs on folks. I'm not gonna lie.
Because it carries so much weight.
Well, and it's refreshing. To an extent, it's refreshing because it's just different. It's not just the same old run of the mill stuff. It's throwing something else out there.
But I don't think he was right in his assessment.
I mean, he would
though.
probably
That's all I'm
he'd
saying.
probably take it back, but
It doesn't matter though. He did it, and I love it.
Yeah,
I
okay,
love
that's
when
fine.
he does that stuff. I really do.